minute. Om Janadatin Bam Harim Sasiri Om Janadatin Bam Harim Sasiri Om Janadatin Bam Harim Sasiri We're almost there, so we continue. So we mentioned about 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. When a quartz crystal is being formed, there are tetrahedrons of silica and 1 silica, 2 oxygen, and they create like a tetrahedron, they're formed. And the spiraling formation of the crystal, it's 1, 2, 3, then it turns 180 degrees, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it turns 180 degrees, and 1, 2, 3. Molecules are laid down in the spiral. It turns 180 degrees, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
It sounded like you're also saying in relation to the 3 elder fires and the 4 pillars.
Yes, and more importantly, how people learn, how information is laid down in our brains, that we store packets of information related to 3s and 4s.
One of the references in that manuscript speaks of that explicitly.
Yes, write it down for me so I can remember and pass it on to others. Yes. We're not quite all here. Is Tori coming back? She's working? Okay. Okay.
Michael was walking the land.
Uh-huh.
And got clothes for lunch, but he didn't come for lunch, so I guess he's still on the land.
Well, walking the land can absorb you totally, and should you enter one of his special vortices, you lose track of time. So a few more minutes, and then we'll begin with our afternoon session. Any other questions until then? Okay. Yeah. We have a bell to ring that shall be put up.
Bell?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. Right. Yes, Jeannie.
More comment than a question, I think, from
Mm-hmm.
what you were talking about this morning. It struck me more and more that what spiritual practice is about is an absolute inner discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And that when that gets lost
Mm-hmm.
is when I focus on what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems as though it comes back to disciplining mind and not allowing thoughts to go in places that aren't for the benefit of all beings.
Uh-huh. Distraction. We are all learning to recognize those discursive thoughts that distract us from the direct perception of things as they are. Do we need that fan over there on? Because I don't hear you as well with the fan on. Yes, please. The fan has gone to ground. And you're very warm? Oh. Let's see.
What's
Yeah. All right. So, aware of the inner path of direct access to the truth, and recognition and acceptance of the discursive thoughts that distract from that clear awareness. Well, let us begin, each one inwardly giving thanks to all those who have been kind and pointed the way, and connecting with that seed of wisdom, that natural awakened state that is you, and resting in that natural state. Think of the teachers who have guided you. Think of your internal, your own spiritual practice, and according to that practice, make a prayer, an offering of your thought, word, and deed, that you may grow in skill, that your activities benefit all. Most importantly, remembering those who have pointed the way, and resting in that seed of awakened mind. So you each now have a small handout that are ideas for contemplation. Thank you. We're looking for the glasses, the reading glasses. I think they're here. Nope, sunglasses. Here they are. Yeah. Thank you. Crystal Wiki. This crystal that I carry during the teaching, basically it has recorded all the teachings I've ever given or received, and I've carried it now for almost 30 years. So for those of you who are wondering what is it is Grandma Hani's magic recording device.
Is it getting heavier?
Sometimes it does get heavier.
A lot of teaching.
And also according to uh, states of transformation, it changes. I can evaluate the clarity of the teachings and the understanding of them by the qualities in the crystal. So it gets really clear when things are understood clearly and the teaching is reaching to the heart. And when it requires more example or information, then it is not so clear. So it is a way to, it's an immediate feedback system about the teaching, it being received, what else is needed that it can be received, what tools I may offer that people recognize their own luminosity. So now you know why I'm carrying it around. Okay. So on the first page, forms arising as appearances from sacred space, sacred geometry, and crystal structures as antenna to attract most beneficial energies and actualize wisdom potential for the benefit of all is my goal in sharing information with you. That basically, I wish that you may know your natural state is luminosity and that wisdom is within you, and that you have direct access to that wisdom. And the ways in which I share that with you, of course, are meditation, the direct method of transference that is most clear, and also pointing you in the direction of further research and resource materials that can support your exploration. So the first picture, it is of a very remarkable rainbow torus ring. And imagine that you are seated within the very center of the smallest one. And that very center, you cannot quite see. There is, here it appears green. It's actually a blue-white jet. And the resonance of that blue-white jet, where you have access to the perception of forms arising in the relative and ultimate sense, that also exists within your heart. The heart itself has spirals of magnetic fields, spiraling magnetic energy around the heart and through the heart. And again, as the spirals, there is also emptiness. It's space. And when we consider emptiness, it means it has potential, yet it is not fixed, nor does it have permanence. It is changing. And it has not a beginning or an end. And the dynamics of those dance steps, so to speak, they exist in each of us. And one way in which we become aware of the music is to consider that the person each one is in a circle of relationship with every sentient being. So we spoke earlier about the trees and their special medicine. And so as this turns, we see that simultaneously there is communication coming in, going out. It is a circle of communication. It is also a circle of generation. So in terms of the heart center and a way to understand the wave that is set in motion by the blue-white jet, we understand it as moving out and moving in simultaneously. When you have a bowl of water and you drop a pebble into the bowl of water, you see the waves going out and coming in. And that's our dance. And so what does it mean in terms of our practical application? How do we apply this in our lives? Because spiritual practice is wonderful. And also, if it doesn't benefit others, if we have not cultivated the mind that cares, that others also benefit, that it's self-entertaining and one may gain separation, liberation from confused states, yet the greatest wisdom is to point the way that all recall the fact that our natural state is luminosity. So the rainbow torus ring, it is a symbol of forms arising. It is also a dynamic process. This toroidal process actually goes on, and it is the basis of solar systems, the basis of galaxies. From the great nebula, there arise these spiraling energies that give rise to planets. All that we know. And within us, like the old song, we are stardust, those bursts of energy, all that we see. It is still part of that continuous display. So we are born, we live, the very elements that move through us, they return to the earth, and as they return to the earth, something else grows. They return to the sky, to the fire, to the elements. So the torus ring is a very powerful teaching symbol because it also represents our relationship with the elements. So we spoke of our connection to the tree and the liver and the process of synthesizing information. What we learn, what we experience, especially that direct experience, it is synthesized as a message that the understanding returns to the field. And why is it important that the understanding return to the field? So there is not a pocket of stagnation. What are illusions? They are belief systems that seek to sustain themselves by believing in a concrete awareness. And what is confusion? It is to think that we are separate from the potential of the awakened state. And the contrived process or the contrived situation of believing that there is a them in us and the promulgation of ideas that give rise to war, these are examples of thought forms holding on to maintain their belief system. So an example, as Shakyamuni Buddha was approaching enlightenment, great beings, big collections of negative energy called Maras, tried to frighten him and send him away from his intention to realize things as they are. And so they became bigger and fiercer and even creating the appearance of storm and destruction. And he maintained his practice, he maintained his view, and ultimately they dissolved. So it says something about us as human beings. and working with one another. The first level of suffering we see is the understanding that from the moment you are born, it's beginning to die. And you want things and you get them and you can't hold on to them. So what is the suffering about body, mind, and illness when you wish to assist others in remembering their natural luminous state? Do you address the illness or do you address the wholeness? The wise practitioner considers the wellness of the person, the seed of wisdom within them, the potential for their gifts to be actualized. So that is important in the view. It recognizes that all we need is here. All that we want is here. And what we are looking for and striving for somewhere else is also right here. So going to certain places, there's the medicine of space. Going to certain places does indeed give you a boost in recognizing the wisdom that is you. So when you stand by a waterfall and its cascading waves of grace and the negative ions that it offers, this lifts you and it makes more clear what is real, energizing the body that it is more resonant with the song of life, the original song. So in different parts of the world, the song has slight variations or in different keys. And this is the result of the geography and the consciousness of the people in those different places. And in these times, many people have noticed, and we've also experienced it here in Vermont, almost like trumpet sounds coming out of the sky. Increased electromagnetic energy that is literally thrumming the strings, the fibers of life, and it sounds awesome. It's amazing. We are moving into a new key. What we understand about science, what we understand about the so-called absolutes is changing. The very energy that comes from the sun in this time, particularly unusual types of neutrinos, have been ejected from the sun and continue to bathe us. And also, what we thought was the decay rate, which is used as a measurement of time, the decay rate of certain isotopes is changing. So it was first noticed in about 76, not much was said, and that's also the time many elders told us to begin making flower offerings to the sun, to offer yellow flowers in appreciation. And now it is very clear, this process of radioactive isotopic decay rate is changing incredibly. And it is not just about the angle of the sun or the angle of the rays the angle of the sun's rays that reach the earth. There's something new going on. And it is not just touching our planet, all of the solar system is warming up. When you think about the microcosm and the big picture, our bodies in many ways are like the song and the replication of the solar system. And the sun is waking up. She is sharing new information and is coming to her through this cloud of potential energy, this collection of energy potentials that our galaxy is moving through. And the dark rift, to which many Native American sacred sites and also other communities, these sacred sites, they point to that place and space of the dark rift where something new arises, where energy flows from, to, and also where something returns. So how do we know? Well, when astronauts were over the Earth, they picked up some unusual radioactivity from Serpent Mound and also a medicine wheel in Wyoming. This medicine wheel and the Serpent Mound, they are actually built as intergalactic radios. And they send a message. Okay, we're waking up, the people are ready. So when that certain star system, which has its own frequency, its own vibration, when that particular star system is getting closer, then it quickens that radio, that is the mound or the medicine circle, and it sends information back out to that star system, that galaxy, to the field of mind. So why? Why do human beings think it is important to communicate with the relatives afar? Basically, because someone in the past and people presently remember that energy is change, it's movement, and it also conveys and is information. So the medicine wheel, which I have a photo of in Wyoming, even though it has been somewhat disturbed through investigation, it's still communicating. It's still sending out messages. And there are many other medicine wheels and mounds in the United States that are basically radios. And so the astronauts, wishing to understand where is this radio interference coming from, began to see, oh, it's coming from these different sites. So what does that mean to you? What is important about that? Basically, it means that as human beings, we are connected with the universe and that we have a sacred duty to return appreciation, to return the song of remembrance and awakening so that it's a living system and it grows. And so the basic meditation that we do, and we'll do it later in the week in its entirety, the basic meditation is within your own body, a small echo of the dynamic dance of forms arising. And so considering the rainbow torus ring as the ring that ripples that arise from your heart, stirred by that blue-white jet. And consider the meditation as a travel opportunity to recognize the vastness of the earth, the vastness of the universe. And then you begin to see it is not outside of us. It is all happening within. So what is the screen on which it is all projected? And who is projecting the dream? We say that there are fibers, potential, that quarter space, and then the opportunity to explore, create certain cohesion, And this becomes like it's described as a crystal plate, and it can also be seen like a drum head. And this undulating drum head is how we are all connecting in this universe. So when someone wakes up, it's like someone jumping on the waterbed. Many people get a wave and some understanding. Many people benefit. And so this is one of the keys to spiritual practice, that you consider how will other beings benefit. Not just for myself alone do I explore the nature of matter, but for the benefit of all beings. Well, who are these other beings? Basically, they're parts that have forgotten that we are united. They are parts, bubbles rising from the ocean spray. So this is a very important thought. I invite you to contemplate how it is you have arisen as a bubble of potential. So visualization becomes a pathway to seeing things as they are, and also the mindfulness of the breath to observe the movement of energy within. So now as you sit, I invite you to observe your breath. Feel it from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, through the crown of your head, and back to sense that dynamic breath and sharing exchange with the universe, with the environment. And whatever arises, you just observe, neither going after or moving from, just observe. And as one observes the breath, also observe the spirals that carry the breath, that are moved by the breath, and support the physical form. Concepts dissolve into light. That light dissolves into space. Next, we explore the movement of water within our form, and also we observe emotions, how the water clarifies, the water energizes, and reminds us of what we are, all that is, our natural luminosity, a message conveyed through the water. So again, sitting, aware of the rainbow torus ring, and at this point we consider the rainbow torus ring on this axis, and it is just below our navel, and it is representing the way in which we align with the elements and how the elements nurture our physical form, and also how our mind-body awareness arises from space, and more importantly, how certain patterns are carried from life to life until we remember who we are and step out of the small circle and return to the large circle of awareness. You're comfortable? You don't need a break yet? No. Good. Oh, yes. Your natural state revealed. You see it. So, navel, 5 streams, appearance of the elements giving rise to form, and ultimately, in that they're continually changing, they are also empty, remember. So, sweet waters of remembrance. Pristine awareness. Even the most confused emotions ultimately have at their base the state of pristine awareness. May any such appearances of confusion or emotional turmoil, may they resolve into that clear state of awareness. All conceptualizations fall away. Sweet water, how precious. We drink it, we offer it. It washes away and it reminds us that our natural state is pristine awareness. How wonderful, the gift of water. Earth, a sacred dance ground, supporting us her hidden fires, tearing away to build anew, burning away to build anew, reminding us of change. Earth, a sacred dance ground, symbolized by the cube. We give thanks for the opportunity to interact with the earth, to be alive. Thankful for our parents and those who've gone on before. The treasures of the earth are the treasures of our minds, the jewels experience that we have gathered over time. So, what have we learned? That all beings are our relatives and we live in a field of change. And we are thankful. And we dive deep into the stream of our mind, emotions, and we gather that shiny stone, that jewel of penetrating insight. We see how we are, who we are, and we are grateful. So it is a short visualization, then you'll get a chance to walk about. Making our way to the shore, holding that gem of insight so that we will remember our way and we will remember how to play, how to apply the recognition that within the sea of experience are also jewels of awareness. So, 20-minute break. Walk about, listen, feel the earth and the sky.